Hey everybody, welcome to the Heelcast, this special live edition. We have a lot in store for you tonight, and we have a lot to talk about, some controversy, some really cool stuff happening with Impact. It's going to be all in one big show tonight. Joining me, we have the Impact Dude. Maybe he's changed his name to Anthem Dude yet. I don't know. How are you doing today, dude?
I'm doing awesome, man. How you been?
Oh, just great. I'm you know what? I'm just a big ball of emotions right now with Impact because I have so many positive stuff, but yet I have some negative stuff too. So it's like it's hard to take it all in at once.
I know, man. It's like some things are going great, and then they're totally fucking up at the same time.
Yeah, tell me about it. So, well, let's get to our plugs. Let's get these out of the way. All right. So I've been kind of jobbing this guy in the last few weeks, and I'm totally sorry about it. So I'm going to give him the first plug of the week. It's Kyle, the former Heelcast member. Check his podcast out, Total Nonstop Impact with Trent Zuberi. Good stuff. Kyle puts in a ton of work. He's using everything he learned in radio broadcasting school to work. So check him out, Total Nonstop Impact. I hope you're happy, Kyle. Secondly,
Kyle's never happy.
Yeah, that's true. Unless, you know, what's his favorite time?
Smoke weed in the back corner by the dumpster.
Yeah, there you go. at his former high school?
At his former high school where he now works.
Right. All right, but definitely check out the Bodega podcast with Chef, who's starting up his own wrestling promotion, Heel Team 6 Wrestling. He's getting some big names in there. I got to give him a lot of props. A lot of guys that if I was in Florida, if I was in the area, I would be front row to this show, but I'm not. Unfortunately, I'm in Wisconsin, so
I am so pissed because I'm gonna be there in August, and the fucker won't run a show for me. It's like, God damn you! I thought we were boys.
He said next year when I come, he will run a show for me in March. So I'm gonna hold him to that.
He'll run a show for you, all right. It won't be a wrestling show, but it'll be a show.
Now we're talking some fantastic mania.
Chef doing a striptease for Hurls.
Oh god. Oh boy. That's not where I thought you were going with it, but anyhow, why not? Anyways, let's give some props to P.D. Williams and the Wrestling Perspective. Let's give some props to ImpactAsylum.net, where all of our content is there under one roof. You can talk to fellow Impact fans. It's the safe haven for Impact fans, as RVE would say. So, also, Robert Does Wrestling. Check him out. He's always running stuff. Check out the S&M show. No, it's not what you're thinking.
Yes, it is exactly what you're thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. It is exactly what you're thinking.
You can listen to multiple porn stars. It seems like they have a new porn star on there every freaking day. But anyways, check the S&M show out. Oh boy, FK9, he just kind of reviews movies now, but hopefully FK9 will be back on this show. But check his stuff out. Check out my show, the Retro Review Crew. We haven't had a new episode in like 6 months, but I'm telling you, people, it's coming. And when it does, you will like it.
And what show's this, Hurls? I haven't heard about this one, man.
This is my side project, as I like to call it. It has nothing to do with wrestling, but it could be about wrestling. It's basically where we talk about video games that we have beaten, and we kind of talk about the story, the difficulty of it, the tips, the tricks, kind of everything, and roll it all into one, and really go over the video game. So
like, what video games? What video games are we talking about here, man?
Oh, I've done 3 so far. We've done 3. We have a lot more planned. But the 3 we've done so far, the original Mega Man from the 80s. So fun. We did Donkey Kong Country from the 90s.
It's a good one.
And we also did the first ever Mario Kart. So we did that one.
Which Mario Kart is this?
This was the first one that ever came out for Super Nintendo.
Wow.
1992.
Oh my god. And you want to know something funny? I played
Yeah.
Mario Kart 64 last night with the kids.
Really?
We play regularly. In fact, my youngest was playing this afternoon.
That is awesome.
Whole family sits down and plays it. In fact, I wanted to get, and you should tell me it's a good idea, a Switch just to get the new Mario Kart. But it looked like it was going to cost me $700, and it wasn't actually as good a game as the 64 version was. Like, it just doesn't look like it's the same level of, like, fun.
You know, this is probably going to shock you, but Mario 64 is my least favorite out of all the Mario Karts.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yep. And that's a spoiler, because we are definitely going to talk about the Mario Kart 64. But, yeah, that's actually my least favorite Mario Kart, believe it or not, because it's kind of a bare bones game. There's not a lot to, like, a lot of the other ones, even the Super Nintendo one that came before it had stuff where you can unlock and, you know, kind of made it a challenge, and it made it more gratifying when you beat it. The N64 one, it was just kind of like, it was fun racing game, don't get me wrong, but that was just kind of it. You got it, and that was it.
So, I love that game.
My favorite one is actually the next one after the 64 one.
Really?
The one that came out for the GameCube, the Double Dash. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. So there's a little spoiler for the retro review crew, for the people that I don't even know how many views we have for that.
Right.
But...
In 3 years, when you actually get to that particular one, anybody watching the show will already know what you're going to say.
Exactly. There's a little tease.
That's right.
Tease. But anyways, okay. So that is our plugs for the week. Let's get down to Impact Wrestling news and a little bit of AEW news. Let's start it off with the big one, the big elephant in the room. United we stand.
Not too united right now, man. We ain't united no more.
No, a lot of bickering between Impact fans. Seen it firsthand. Diehard Impact fans. But we have to address this. So, United We Stand. It was a cool show. It was going to be the WrestleMania show for Impact. Just like last year, we had the Impact vs. Lucha. It was a Twitch show. Okay, they came out and said they were going to do these Twitch shows every month, and they started it off with the February one and then the March one, which weren't like super big, but they went all out for the WrestleMania show. They put it free on Twitch. So this year, it sounded like we were going to have another Twitch one. We were going to have it. It was going to be United We Stand. It was going to be the big WrestleMania show, and it had Rob Van Dam and Sabu, which I don't even know if I've talked about it yet. But those are big names, okay, huge names, and they're going to be reuniting as a tag team to go up against the Lucha Brothers, who are also one of the best tag teams in the world. Okay. So, about, 4 or 5 days ago, it's been announced that United We Stand is no longer going to be on Twitch. It's going to be on Fight TV exclusively. So, I was okay with it, but I thought, okay, if it's going to Fight, it's probably going to have to pay for it. Sure enough, I go on there, I look on Fight, it's $20. So that's basically just the facts of the matter, okay? So Impact previously said it was going to be on Twitch, changed their minds, took it to Fight. Now, I'm going to let Impact Dude take it from here because he has a lot to say on the matter, and then I will say what I think of it after Impact Dude goes. So Impact Dude, the floor is yours. God bless us all.
God help us all too. Look, fuck them completely. Here's the thing, guys. For all you knuckleheads on Twitter that have been going, damn, Robert, I'm looking at the comments and Robert is he's totally stealing my thunder here. Robert, your hit it spot on, buddy. It's nothing to do with the frickin' $20. It has everything to do with bait and switch. Robert hit the nail on the head. He doesn't like them doing a bait and switch because it's very disrespectful to their loyal customers. That's exactly how I feel. I have been loyal to this company from day freaking one. Thick and thin. I've been here on the Heelcast promoting it. I've been on Impact Asylum. I'm a flipping moderator over there, constantly promoting their shit everywhere I go. Okay, that's a definition of a loyal customer. Quite frankly, they advertised that the show was going to be free for people to watch. If they would have said from the beginning that they wanted $20 to watch it, I wouldn't care. Hurls, I'd be like, all right, fine. I got a newsflash for you folks. I'm probably not going to watch it Thursday night at 11 o'clock because I am on the East Coast, and I do have a goddamn job. But, you know, come Friday or Saturday when I got a couple hours, that's exactly what I would do. I'd go to Fight Network, put in my credit card, which is actually probably already on file anyway, and I would say, here's your $20. Let me go watch the show now. However, you advertise one thing, you do a bait and switch, and you do something else. That is terrible for the consumer. Years ago, Hurls, I guess it would have been 2007 because my daughter was born. My wife just decided she needed a new truck. So go to the dealership, right? And we order this truck, and they're going to get it from another dealer or something like that. And then they call us back day before we're supposed to pick it up. Or maybe the day we were supposed to pick it up. And they said, yeah, but we can't give it to you at that price. It's going to be like an extra $1,000 or so. If they would have called that the price to begin with, I wouldn't have had a damn bit of difference. However, because that was the original price, I was pissed off. I didn't want to buy a damn truck. Problem is, my wife was 8 months pregnant, Hurls. Hurls, you ever had a wife that was 8 months pregnant?
Yes.
Yeah, not too long ago, right?
Yeah,
she had to have that goddamn truck.
Yeah.
Of course, sooner or later she had the baby. I guess sooner than later, and she regretted buying a stupid truck because every time she get a truck, she thought about that damn dealer. It was like, son of a bitch, right? So we don't do business with that dealer anymore. Never will. In fact, I swear I'll buying all cars altogether. So I finally got a new damn car last month. I told my wife, I said, look, if this isn't the exact car that I ordered, Hurls, I mean feature by feature, buddy, I ain't taking it. I don't care that it took 2-3 months to freaking show up. I'm not taking it. If the price isn't exactly what it's supposed to be, fuck them. I don't care if it's $1 or more. I'm walking out without it. Because, just like Robert says, as I'm reading this comment, imagine going to a restaurant expecting to say $10, pay $10 for a meal, but when you go to the cashier, they charge you $20. You can't do it. You just can't do it. As a business, you've got to say to yourself, you know what? We messed up. We should have charged for this. We should have made this a pay-per-view. We could have made this a pay-per-view. Well, you know what? It's too damn late. Should have charged from the goddamn beginning, and nobody would have cared. Just like Robert says, if you would have expected when you look at that menu that that meal was going to be $20, you would have paid for it. You'd have been like, you know what? I'm here. I don't want to go anywhere else. I'm sure the meal's good. I could probably get a cheaper meal down the road, but it's not worth my time. It'd be like seeing a price on the gas pump that says the gas is going to be $2.69, and when you get there, it's $2.75. You'd be pissed. Why didn't they change the sign? Because if I would have known that, I might have kept driving. It's the same damn thing with Impact Wrestling. So none of this bullshit about he doesn't have the right to say this or the right to be upset. Have every goddamn right to be upset because you're treating your customers like shit, and then you're wondering why your ratings suck. You're treating your customers like shit, and then you're wondering why Pop doesn't want you anymore, and how come Destination America didn't want you anymore, and how come Spike TV didn't want you anymore, because you hired Vince Russo and didn't tell him about it. Do not piss people off. If you want to build a business, you build a business the right way by being open, honest, and fair. And all these knuckleheads out there, Hurls, they keep telling me, don't you think $20 is fair? Yes, I actually do think $20 is fair. But it's not open and it's not honest. It's a fucking lie. It's treating your customer like bullshit dog shit and saying, well, just fuck with you because we want to fuck with you. Well, you know what? When was the last time WWE advertised something at one price and did a bait and switch? They don't. It's the fucking worst company on the goddamn planet. Okay, I hate that goddamn company, but not even Vince McMahon does that because Vince knows you don't fuck with your customer. Anthem is fucking with their customers, and we, as a community of fans, need to fight back, and we need to make it blow up in their face. So next time they think twice, and next time they're open and honest with us. I have reached out on Twitter to Ed, I have reached out to Don, and I have reached out to Scott. No response. I even reached out to Leonard Asper himself. Got nothing out of any of them. What the hell is their problem, Hurls? Why the hell won't they just answer the question that's begging to be answered, which is, why did you do a bait and switch? You didn't have to do it. You could have left the show alone. Maybe you have a few less great matches. Who knows? But the bottom line is that you got a show that's not airing until 11 o'clock at night on fucking Thursday night, and then you're going to try and charge $20 for it after saying it was free? It's complete bullshit. And it's not about the money. It has absolutely zero to do with the money. It has everything to do with the principle. And if you people out there have principles, you too will say, you know what? We're not paying. And we're not doing it on principle. Forget the $20. You know what? Go buy Redemption for $20. Or what is that? What's the next pay-per-view? It's not Redemption this year.
Rebellion.
Rebellion. Okay, Rebellion. Go give them the $40 they want for Rebellion. I will probably do that because they're being honest about it. But this needs to blow up in their goddamn face, Hurls. It needs to blow up in their face.
Man, it's getting hot over in Baltimore. Oh boy, I don't even know where to begin. But here's the thing: when you advertise that it's going to be on Twitch, you're pretty much locked into that. You shouldn't be changing it to Fight TV. Why are they changing it to Fight TV all of a sudden now? I mean, this is stuff that has to go on in the creative process, in the meetings. This has to be stuff that has to be sorted out. You told all of us it was going to be on Twitch. And then you're just like, surprise, we're going to Fight. We're going to make you charge $20 now. I mean, I don't, like you said, I have no problem paying $20. Okay? I have no problem with it. But tell me it's going to be a pay-per-view, and tell me it's not going to be a Twitch thing. You know? Tell me it's not going to be for free on Twitch. Like,
Hey, Hurls, let me be honest with you for a second. Let me ask you an honest question. If they would have said it was a pay-per-view from the beginning, would you have been more or less excited about it than a free Twitch special?
You know what? I would have been excited.
I would have been more excited too. More excited.
Because, I mean, okay, if you watch the Twitch shows monthly, which I know you sometimes do, sometimes you don't, I watch them all. Most of them are just a regular house show with a lot of indie guys, okay? But, you know, if you would have told us that, hey, this is just a Fight TV pay-per-view, it's not going to be anywhere else, you got to watch it on Fight, you know, I thought it would have been special. It would have been definitely more special than your regular Twitch events or even one night only. But if I'm, you know, this is the WrestleMania weekend show. I know they're going to try to go all out for this, and that's fine. But come on, you got to tell us up front. So, you know, you got to tell us that it's going to be a pay-per-view to start. And not only that, like you said, East Coast people, 11 o'clock at night is when you're going to be starting the pay-per-view. So you're not going to be done till well past 1 a.m. Us Midwesterners, you know, 10 o'clock, that's not exactly early either. So I just think this thing, they did not think it through. Maybe Rob Van Dam costs a lot of money to book. I do not know, but this is not the way to go about it. You should, if you told people it was going to be on Twitch, I'm sorry, but you should be set that it's going to be on Twitch. You don't change it. I don't care, even if it's 2 months before the show. You do not change it. Or actually, it's only about a month now. But regardless, you keep it on Twitch. Then next year, because you think you can get money off of it, and I have no problem with anyone wanting money, it's fine. It's a business. I get it. But be honest, like you said. Be honest. Don't change it. Even if it's a month, it doesn't matter. You said it was going to be on Twitch. It's not going to be on Twitch. Like you said, you're screwing with the customers.
Now, look, we got a comment and a couple comments in the chat window from our good buddy Mike Peacock. Okay, his point is he guesses that they need the money, and if they're desperate for the money, whatever they're doing hasn't been pulling in the money, it hasn't been pulling in the viewers. Okay, that's not necessarily an unfair statement. Except here's the thing, Mike. Bottom line is, you're talking about a guy now who's a real CEO. We're not talking fucking Dixie Carter anymore. We're talking Ed Nordholm and others, okay? They know what their dollars and cents look like. They know how much a show's going to cost and how much they expected to pull in and what they need to get out of it, okay? They knew that months ago when they started the show. They know what their numbers are in general, okay? They haven't been advertising this Twitch special for that long, okay? So why on earth are they now saying, oh my gosh, we're screwed without this? You're talking about how much money they possibly going to make off of a freaking pay-per-view that has nothing to do with their storylines, and, oh, by the way, is airing at 11 o'clock on a Thursday night, really going to do versus the amount of money that they're going to lose when people get pissed off. You can't afford the negativity. It costs more to change it than it does to leave it alone. Now, Robert is saying that RVD apparently asks for a lot of money. He's asking for around $20K. Again, Robert, I don't know how much they're paying any of these guys. Bottom line is, don't bring RVD on then if you can't afford RVD. If you know your numbers ahead of time, you work with your numbers ahead of time. Or if you look and you go, man, RVD's expensive, make it a damn pay-per-view like we're saying. It's okay to make it a pay-per-view. You just can't change it. A lot of times in business, it's more expensive to try to save a buck or make a buck than it is to just admit defeat and keep moving on with consumer confidence. This is a company that lacks consumer confidence in general. It was the Dixie Carter way, okay? Let's just do stupid shit. And this is just one more example of TNA being... This is LOL TNA at its best here, folks, okay? And what I'm saying is that don't bring RVD in and don't advertise him if you can't afford him. And the same thing goes for everybody else that's on that card. Do what you can afford to do. If you're going to do it for free, do what you can afford to do if you're going to charge. But to be honest with you guys, tomorrow they might turn around and go, oh, you know what, the $20, pshaw, let's charge $30 instead. Okay? Where does it end?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because they've done it once before. They're more than capable of doing it again.
Why not? Right? Why not, man? Let's just keep changing our story. Like damn politicians.
Yeah. And you got that right. Like, there's nothing really stopping them, and there's nothing to say, oh, if I wake up, on April 4th, and I see it's not $20 anymore, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf, right? So many times you think it's not gonna, you think it's actually happening, and then it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So you think, okay, it's $20, but I can't guarantee it. I cannot guarantee that it's going to be $20 on April 4th. So. That's pretty unfortunate, and I think the people who on Twitter who are going, who are going after you for that fact, I just think it's just ridiculous, because you bring up a great point, and it's bad business. It's bad business. No other way to slice it.
And Hurls, you and I both know, I don't give a rat's ass what anybody on Twitter thinks of me.
Right, we are the Heelcast.
Right. I couldn't give two shits less.
Right. We're not the face cast.
No.
We are the Heelcast, so we like it when people don't agree with us.
Exactly.
So it's fine. It's really fine. But I don't know. And having said that, I probably still will buy the show. I probably will, but I shouldn't. I should be like you and probably stand around here. But... You
should also go to bed so you can get up in the morning for work.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you know what? I actually have banker's hours, so I'm actually pretty good that way. So,
good for you.
Thanks.
I have an hour commute. I'm usually there by 7:30.
I run the Kevin Nash business. My time. He always says that. My time. Anyways, let's go to the next story. Let's go a little bit more positive. Impact has signed two bright up-and-coming wrestlers, Ace Austin and Josh Alexander. These two, if you've been watching Twitch specials or One Night Onlys, you know about these two. They even made a few appearances on Impact. Ace Austin, really, really phenomenal wrestler. I would say he's an X Division style wrestler, but he's got a really muscular tone to him. I would say his body's similar to Neville, currently going as Pac on the Indies. Guy that can, do the high flying stuff, but he can also do power. And he's got a really interesting gimmick. He's got the kind of like a Gambit from the X-Men style gimmick. It's pretty cool with the cards and the magician type stuff. It's pretty cool. I think Impact made a great move getting Ace Austin on the roster. So definitely looking forward to see how they use him. And the other guy who they signed, Josh Alexander, been raving about this guy on my one night only reviews. He is the real deal. If you're looking for somebody to replace that Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle style wrestler, submission, technical, Josh Alexander is it. This guy goes hard. He is going to give Impact some great, great matches. Now, I will say, personality-wise, I'm not sure what to expect, okay? I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of his mic skills. From what I can tell, he's competent, but his wrestling more than speaks up for it. His look is different than what anybody else is doing out there. He's bringing back the Rick Steiner style look with the wrestling headgear. Really excited to see Josh Alexander in here, and it would not surprise me by the end of his 3-year deal if he's world champion. That's how confident I am in this guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And you're not even able to speak for his mic skills, and you think that highly of him.
I do. I mean, I think he's Benoit. He's intense. He's really intense, but I think he can definitely be a world champion. He's already had some great matches with Sami Callihan. And if he can go in there already and have a 5-star classic with him, why not? Would you think he's not a main event material already, especially in Impact?
So first thing I got on this guy, right, Hurls, is they clearly have some money because they're hiring they're bringing 2 people on, right?
Yeah.
Now, my next question for you here, right, is how big is this guy? It's really hard to tell. Look at the pictures.
I think he's definitely not like I would have to say he's definitely over 6 foot. I would say 6'1", 6'2". If I had to guess 6'1", 6'2", good build. He's not jacked. He's not like super jacked or anything, but I think he's definitely credible as a heavyweight.
So are we talking 220, 240?
I would say he's probably 235, 235, 6'1", maybe 240.
I mean, that's legit today, right? I mean, this isn't like the 90s where everybody was 260, 270 because they were all roided up. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think he's definitely, like, nowadays, he's definitely a heavyweight. Let's put it that way. He's not an X Division guy. Not at all. You sign him, you're bringing him in at least to the mid card. He's not X Division, maybe tag, but he doesn't seem like a tag guy. I think this guy was pretty much. I think he had a lot of offers. Let's put it that way. I'm shocked that he, WWE or AEW didn't get him. That's how shocked I am by that. That's how much I'm promoting this guy.
Wow.
Legit. Yeah, he's legit. I think a lot of Impact fans do not know him, but I think once they see him, I'm more excited about this hire than I am with pretty much anybody they brought in the last 2-3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That's how much I'm promoting this guy, because I truly think he's like I said, if you like Benoit, you like Kurt Angle style wrestling, this is what this guy brings.
So this is like we're entering the Donovan Dijak zone here, right? I couldn't resist.
A lot better than Dijak.
No, I like everybody better than Dijak. So look, Robert posted on in the comments that he is 6'1", 225. So I mean, you're really freaking spot on with your assessment. And he's 31, so he's old enough to be very good, right? But he's not too old. And 6'1", 225 is nothing to to hate on.
Yeah, no, definitely not, especially in 2019. He's, like I said, they bring him in, and from my guesses, he wasn't just going to be brought into any company because they're on TV. Like, I think this guy, he knows his worth. Let's just put it that way. If he's getting hired, he's getting hired to do something important. Okay, so I think he's being brought in to just be a beast, and I can't wait to see how Impact uses him. I really can't, because I've seen enough of this guy through a few matches to know this guy is legit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is he going to come as a face or is he going to come as a heel?
If I had to guess, I think you bring him in as a face, but would it shock me? Because he is kind of in that same vein as, you know, like a Rick Steiner, Benoit, Angle type. He could probably do both. I'll say face, though.
So he could be fed to Cross.
Oh, I'd love to see that match. I'd love to see that match.
I believe they had a match already in Impact, believe it or not. I believe that they did. I believe they did. Somebody will very quickly correct me if I'm wrong. I am convinced of that.
Oh boy! So
but,
was that when they were probably in? Was that around the Slammiversary tapings?
I'm looking up. Oh yes, look at this. It was for TV tapings. Killer Cross versus Josh Alexander, Monday the 23rd of July at the Rebel Complex in Toronto.
Oh, I think that was on Explosion. I think that was on Explosion.
Yeah, but they actually did wrestle, and that sounds like that would be a great matchup.
Oh gosh. Yeah, no, I think that is on Explosion. I think you can watch it there. I did not watch that one yet, but just imagine now that they know he's part of the roster now. You know, so see folks, it helps to watch these one night onlys. You're gonna see tomorrow's Impact stars, a lot of them. Because there's a lot, and I'll tell you right now, BCW, Scott D'Amore's fed. He's got a lot of talented wrestlers there, tons. Like, I mean, that's where I pretty much saw Ace Austin and Josh Alexander for the most part. So,
well, I've seen Ace Austin in action. I am impressed with Ace Austin. I mean, I don't know that I see him as the next coming, right? But I do think that he's a guy that I will be a solid hand for the company. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm not saying he's. You know, he's definitely not where, you know, Josh Alexander is, but he's like a lot of the guys I've been seeing in BCW and Destiny. He's definitely one that you'd want to sign for sure. So, I don't know. I hope I like I said, I'll you know, if we're both doing the Heelcast in 3 years and Josh Alexander's not heavyweight champion, you can definitely say, "Oh, Hurls, you really screwed that one." You know?
And I will too. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I hope you do.
And as you will be reminding me
about Dijak.
as you will be reminding me incessantly, hopefully anyway, that our good buddy Austin Aries really did shoot at Bound for Glory. That was not a work.
Well, you just led us into our next topic then. Why don't we talk about it?
Oh no, I don't want to talk about. Oh my God, what did he do this time, Hurls?
We do closure on this because there was so many Heelcast members that thought it was a work. And then there's so many Heelcast members that thought it was a shoot. So we found out it was a shoot. I mean, it's a shoot. Like, how disappointed were you when you found out it was a shoot? Like,
you know,
this guy though. I just want to say one thing. He went on Talk Is Jericho, like not long before that, and praised D'Amore and Callis. To a little time after, just flipping out because he lost the title and flipping out at Callis and D'Amore. Like, I don't know. Go ahead.
You know, you asked the question of how upset was I. I mean, I think the ego was a little bruised, Hurls. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, don't worry, guys. They would never. This would not actually happen. There's no way. So the ego was bruised, right? And I mean that hurt. Right, let's not lie. I'm not gonna, you know, cherry coat it. The ego was bruised. My ego is pretty bruised anyway. So, you know, what the hell? As far as whether, you know, Austin Aries is the member of the roster anymore, you know, I was never a big fan of his anyway. So, if I had to say how upset was I that he didn't come back, I mean, I wasn't. I just didn't think that he added a lot. I'm not on the Austin Aries train. I never was. I mean, I think he's a good performer, but I don't think that he's a main eventer. I don't think he's a world heavyweight champion. I just don't. I don't see him that way. So I really didn't give a crap from that perspective. But yeah, the ego was bruised. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites. Probably because he's from Wisconsin, that probably helped. But just like doesn't make sense, man. You're the guy. Like, what are you freaking out about? Because you had to put over Johnny Impact. Like, I don't know. From if you guys have been seeing the stuff on Twitter between him and Sami Callihan shooting on each other, seems like Austin Aries had a lot of issues with Sami Callihan, and apparently he said that the Slammiversary match went way too long and it cut into his time with Moose. There was a lot of stuff. He was obviously shooting on Sami Callihan for doing the botched spot with Eddie Edwards. And there's some good points, but to no-sell a guy's finisher because you had to drop the title?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's always been a bit of a dick, to say the least. I mean, let's just be honest. The guy's a dick. And that is what he is. As far as Callahan's concerned, he's probably tired of hearing Callihan remind everybody that Callihan was the Wrestler of the Year, which, by the way, I think is great heel promotion. I think that he should be doing that. But it bruises Austin Aries' ego. And unlike myself, who jokes about my bruised ego, because I don't take myself that seriously, Austin Aries takes himself incredibly seriously, and he's very upset that he was not the Wrestler of the Year, that he did not get anything voted from by the fans. And he didn't because he didn't deserve it. His match with Moose at Slammiversary was a great match, Hurls. It really was.
Oh, yeah.
It was not as good as Sammy and Pentagon was.
Well, you're definitely right about that. I mean, but he had a lot of good matches all over the place. I mean, even with El Patron, and he had one with Rich Swann on a one night only. Like, he had matches all over the place. It was just great. They were great matches. But Sami Callihan, I think 2018 was his year.
Sami Callihan was just better last year. Austin Aries was good. Sami Callihan was better. Sami Callihan stepped up and carried things for the company. Austin Aries was too busy playing the role of the belt collector and run around and promoting Austin Aries. Sami Callihan, yes, he did screw up, and he did hit Eddie Edwards in the head with a bat. And for that, I will never forgive him, because that never should have happened. That was a terrible mistake. But he put Eddie Edwards over in a big way coming out of that. And Eddie Edwards has been on fire ever since as well. In fact, I would put Eddie Edwards' 2018 over top of Austin Aries as well, because Eddie Edwards was involved in phenomenal feuds around and across the board with everybody that he was involved with. It was all turned to gold. So, I think Sami Callihan has put over a lot of people. I think Austin Aries has put over Austin Aries. So, again, fuck Austin Aries. What he did, Bound for Glory, was fucking bullshit. Okay, and I'm glad I told him at Bound for Glory what I thought of him. You remember that?
Yeah.
So I'm glad I had that opportunity to tell him that, even if we weren't just playing kayfabe at the time. Now I actually mean it, Austin Aries. Okay, you truly are a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's just it's too bad a guy that talented had to ruin it and probably burned his bridge with Impact. So it's just too bad. I was a fan, but now we kind of got to put him in the same vein as low key.
Yep.
Another guy. Not a team player. And you look at Sami Callihan. What is Sami Callihan able to do? He's able to put other guys over, but yet he's still credible. Like, we've said it how many times on the Heelcast?
Yep.
Said it so many times. Sami Callihan can lose and still look like $1 million. That's awesome.
Sami Callihan should virtually never win. I mean, he is a modern-day Roddy Piper. He doesn't need to win, so don't even have him win. Just have him lose every time. People hate him so much that they're gonna act like it's the greatest thing when he loses. And quite frankly, they're gonna continue to hate him and see him as a threat because he makes himself a threat, even though he loses.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's enough for the Austin Aries. So we got that out of the way. Let's go with some AEW news. Obviously, we've been hearing about AEW. We've been hearing about all these different wrestlers they've been talking to and all the rumors and speculation. Let's talk about the TV deals. Apparently, I believe this was from Wade Keller, is kind of saying how Cody Rhodes had an interview in the Miami Herald, and kind of downplayed how important TV is. And he's exactly right. He's exactly right. In 2019, TV, is it super important? Probably not. Can companies exist? Yes. But if you want to be a big time player, like they've all been saying they're going to be, you need TV. And this whole TNT, TBS rumor kept going and going and going. And I'm like, hold up, guys. Let's not jump the gun here. It's not going to be easy to get a TV deal on TNT and TBS if you haven't you've had one show so far. So Wade Keller's kind of just saying that could be a sign that they are struggling to get a TV deal done because we have not heard anything about it. John, Impact Dude, thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. I try to be bullish on this stuff in the sense that I want to see them be able to obtain the TV deal, right? And then I'm rooting for them. There's no reason not to root for these people. I only root against, WWE and its marks. So I'm not going to root against AEW. I'm going to root for them, right? Especially with all the trouble that Impact has had. Wrestling fans need an outlet. This is a potential outlet. This is something to be excited about, not, dissing. So I tend to try to be bullish on it. There's several different ways that this can be viewed, right? The first way that it could be viewed as they're having problems, like what Wade Keller is suggesting, and it could also be, Cody trying to maybe up the ante a little bit here in the negotiating TV deal by saying, yeah, we really like TV, but we can survive without TV because maybe they feel like they're getting lowballed. And maybe they feel like, they would just like to be able to potentially, get a little bit better of a deal, right? So if you look at it from that perspective, it's entirely possible that Cody is just outwardly negotiating. Or Cody could just be being honest. In today's day and age, you can be successful without TV. Because you really probably can. I don't think anybody's done it yet. So I don't think there's a formula or a blueprint for it. But maybe he's just saying that the opportunity exists. I've been saying for years that that somebody's going to come along and they're going to be internet based and they're going to put out a product which is going to be a little bit cheaper to put out, okay? Because they don't have to maybe have all the broadcast, this, that, the other. Maybe sort of like a Lucha Underground style thing where they go inside of with the studio audience that doesn't say what the spoilers are, type of a thing, right? That they stream it themselves and that they're able to take the revenue, what's known as vertically. And vertically, when you go with vertical revenue, it means that you're not just getting the money that's coming in from selling tickets and merchandise. You're also getting money from advertisers on the TV. And so basically, you control everything from soup to nuts, right? And that when you do that, it's going to put yourself in a better position. If you look at Ring of Honor, they're very vertical, right? Because they're owned by Sinclair, so they do everything pretty much in-house and work vertically. That is definitely something that is going to happen at some point in time, and so Cody is correct that shift is going to happen. The question is when, Hurls. When is that able to be happening? And I've said for several years it was about 5 years out. It's probably a little less than 5 years out, but it's not today, right? Right. So he could just be being honest. In any event, I would be much happier if they would just say, hey, guess what? We are going to be on NBC with a mega deal. That would make me a whole lot happier, Hurls, than hear him say shit like this.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just maybe I don't know. I mean, you got Shad Khan, the guy who's fronting this, got a lot of money, so obviously that's definitely going to help you. You can attract the big names. I mean, they're talking to. Rumors are we know they're talking to Dave Bautista, okay? We know that there was possible Bill Goldberg contacts. We don't know, whatever. There's even Undertaker rumors out there at this point. I don't know if Undertaker would ever do that, but I'm just throwing that out there. So that this, they're going legit at this. They're trying to get as many big names. They already got Jericho. They already got Omega. They got the Bucks, Cody. So they got they got Pac, aka Neville. They got some big names. But if you're not, like I said, if they get put on TNT or TBS, they're a major player, and WWE should feel threatened because that's a big outlet. It really is, and that means you're a legit player. You're legit, in my opinion. And let's give them credit. They sold out their Double or Nothing pay-per-view in what, 4 minutes? Has TNA ever even come close to an accomplishment like that? No. And I hate to say that because I love TNA and I love, what they've been giving us over the years, but we have not had any type of that success ever. So these guys obviously are doing something right. So you got to give them credit there. So John, the next bit of news, there's been some releases in WWE. Okay, and I think it needs to be said on, who they are. Dean Ambrose, pretty big name in WWE. He's going to be leaving the company supposedly right at WrestleMania. He did not resign, so he's not really even going to get released. He's just going to be able to leave and go wherever he wants. Where do you think he ends up? Do you think he's AEW or Impact bound or possibly New Japan?
Wow. I don't watch WWE. You know that, right?
Right.
So I would say I don't really have a good feeling, but from what I've been told is that he would really like to work New Japan. So I would not be shocked to see him, maybe work a combination. Maybe do some AEW shows, maybe do some New Japan stuff. Wouldn't shock me.
Well, I just want to let you know, too, and the reason why I brought up Impact was because his tag team partner on the Indies for the longest time was Sami Callihan. They were called the Switchblade Conspiracy. They were in the promotion CZW. A lot of people know them as they're kind of like a lot of deathmatch, hardcore promotion. But he does have a connection with Sami Callihan. So I was just kind of throwing that out there. I don't necessarily know if Impact would go for Dean Ambrose. They'd probably have to give him a pretty hefty deal to get him to come. But I think it would be worth it. Also, yeah. I want to, Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, the question is worth it because I just don't know on Pursuit what they're gonna be able to draw.
I agree 100%. And does Dean Ambrose automatically turn down Impact because of that? You know what I mean? Like, does he just say like, okay, I'm not? I don't want to say that. I hate to say that. Like, the TV deal matters when it comes to signing wrestlers, but it's got to play into it a little bit, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's
got to play into it some bit.
Right. And I just don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe. I hope he does. I hope that'd be awesome if he came over. I think it'd give Impact a shot in the arm for sure. I was a fan of the guy. I'm not a huge WB fan, but I follow it just to kind of know what's going on. Because, I mean, let's face it, they still are the number one promotion in the world. I'm not a fan of theirs, but I do follow it. I feel like I kind of need to. I just watch pay-per-views, by the way. Just watch pay-per-views. That's it. And that's enough. But let's also talk about Arn Anderson, legend, Four Horsemen.
Never trust Arn Anderson.
Would you want Arn Anderson to kind of be brought in as either a manager or a agent?
The fuck kind of question is that? Is that rhetorical? I love Arn Anderson.
He's your favorite wrestler, isn't he?
That's my damn screen name on Google. When you find me, it says Arn friggin' Anderson. I used to have a Facebook account. At the time, it was TNA Dude, right? But they wouldn't let me use TNA Dude, so I called myself Arn Anderson instead, right? And I had a great conversation with Dave Lagana when he was doing one of his live posts or whatnot. I knew exactly who I was and loved the fact that I was impersonating Arn Anderson as well, I should add. Lagana's awesome, by the way. But the bottom line is that I do agree, by the way, the Chris Steele show just stole my line. People steal my line all night, man, that Arn is going to AEW. I'm convinced of it. I mean, let's just face it. There is a huge connection between, Arn Anderson and the Rhodes family. Okay, so I'm convinced that Arn is headed to AEW, and he may have even quit. We don't even know why he was quit or what or not, why he left, or whether he was fired or quit or whatnot. So I am absolutely with the Chris Steele show. It looks like Larkin's chiming in. He agrees as well, for sure. I'm seeing him going to AEW. But if you ask me, would I like to see Arn Anderson? The answer is always going to be yes.
Yeah, well, there was actually a report that came out why he got released. Him and Vince were kind of butting heads, I guess, backstage, and I guess John Cena was the glue that held them together, believe it or not. But John's obviously been kind of stepping away from wrestling, so he's not been there as much. So I guess that's why a lot of people think that Arn was released. But nonetheless, we also had Hideo Itami. I'm not even really going to get into him. He's going back to Japan. No need to speculate there. And then we also had Ty Dillinger. I think that's a lock for AEW. Him and Cody Rhodes are pretty darn close. But the last one I do want to go over, TJP, TJ Perkins, a.k.a. Manic. Let's go over it because there was a lot of stuff when he was in Impact that we could talk about. But first, Impact, dude, what TJP? Do you have any interest to bring him back?
I mean, I heard he got a whole bunch of tattoos that had something to do with it. I got a question for you, Hurls. Did he have any of his fingers tattooed? Inquiring minds want to know. I think I just managed to take another shot at Davey Richards there now, didn't I?
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did. I thought that's where you were going with it.
Oh, absolutely. That's where I was going. Now, yes. TJP is a beautiful person.
New York nightclub.
That's right.
That one was, yeah.
Oh, man. I used to absolutely love that kid when he was in Ring of Honor. I just loved watching him. I thought that he was just fire in the ring. But he, he's a kid that has a great backstory too. I mean, like he was homeless, right? And he was.
I also want to say something on that. He's gotten in trouble for that too. Believe it or not, it's a story that he tells a lot of people, but a lot of wrestlers are not going to sympathize with him because they were homeless as well. Apparently he got a little, kind of using that sob story, and a lot of wrestlers are like, well, yeah, so was I lived in my car, blah, blah, blah. But keep on going.
Well, and to be fair, John Cena is one of those guys. That's why John Cena works as hard as John Cena works. He won't live his goddamn car again. He just wants to have contracts for his girlfriend to live in the house. But that's a different story. But the point is, he's got a great backstory. But the more you hear about him, the less you want to deal with him. He's very bland in terms of his look. Now there's 1,000 flippy guys out there that is just as good as better than he is. And he does cause issues in the back. You know what I'm saying? This is legit. Okay. We're not joking. There are issues with him in the back, and I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that cheap. So I would say, sorry for your loss. Moving on.
Yeah, I think he definitely kind of seems to shoot himself in the foot quite a bit on social media. And maybe he's just a person that this is how he is, and maybe he's not going to change, but I can tell you it doesn't help him. Definitely doesn't help him in the professional wrestling world. And he says a lot of things that you're not supposed to say. And
nope.
Davey Richards. Sorry.
Angelina Love is tuning out quickly to the Heelcast tonight, folks.
Yeah, we may have lost her as a fan if we ever was one. But he did stick up for TNA a lot during the Dixie Carter era. He said that TNA was able to give him a home for the first time. He bought his house being under a TNA contract. He was really generous for a while, but then, you know, the whole I want to wrestle as TJP, I don't want to wrestle as Manic anymore. And I kind of understood it, but maybe there was just a better way to go about that, you know? So, but TJP, I mean, he's had a long history with TNA. Even before Manic, he was Puma, and he showed up on a few pay-per-views back in the early days of TNA. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with, but you are exactly right. When TJP came out, he was kind of part of that initial, you know, X Division style. But now that X Division style is kind of the norm. Everybody does it. It's not like shock and awe anymore. It's not, you know, I mean, there's just so many guys that can do better than what he can. And I'm not saying he's a bad worker at all. I hope he finds work, and it might be with Impact Wrestling, but I hope he's matured. He's got to mature at some point, and I don't think we've seen it yet.
Now, Hurls, you're talking about maturity, and comment in the chat. The Chris Steele Show wants to know, we were talking about Davey Richards. What happened to Davey? He says, I saw he was pulled from a show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk. We got to talk about this.
Yeah. So I want to say it was 2017 or 2016. Davey Richards was supposed to work for, I believe it was Alpha One Wrestling, and he basically just did a DM. I don't know if it was on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Doesn't matter. But he just basically wrote a couple sentences, say, hey, I can't make the show, and I won't be able to attend. And you know what? Actually, I think no. This is how it went. He actually did not say anything. He just didn't. He pulled a no-show, and then he gave the message after the no-show saying, "I'm sorry. I will make it up to you. I'll do another match for free." He said for free, and I'll drive myself out there. And Alpha One Wrestling was saying, "No, we'll pay for your transportation, whatever." And I guess a few days before the show, he writes and says he can't make it. He wrote like a sentence and basically pulled the same thing. And I don't know if he was supposed to wrestle with Ethan Page, but Ethan Page went after him pretty hard and basically just said, well, are you going to no-show the next time a guy gets a heart attack? So that was pretty blunt. So Davey Richards, another guy, he's had erratic behavior in the wrestling business before. Another guy with along the lines of a TJP or an Austin Aries. These are guys that do have issues. And the thing about Davey Richards was 2019 was supposed to be his comeback year. He said he was taking 2018 off. He was going to come back in 2019. I really thought he was going to come back to Impact in 2019, but who knows? I know nothing's happened on that front.
He was such a pain in the ass in Ring of Honor. And he got to Impact, and it was like he grew the fuck up. I mean, he let people finger his women while he was there, but that's a different story. What is it with me and that tonight? You know, I had a dream, dude. That
I don't want to hear about your dreams.
Actually, unfortunately, maybe it wasn't. I just didn't realize it. But I had a dream that I was banging Scarlett, and yeah, I know, right? That would ever actually happen.
Well, now she's not going to accept your friend request now.
Well, that's just it. The dream ended because the bitch wasn't accepting my friend request. So here we are. We're like banging multiple times, and she still won't fucking take my friend request. I'm like, what the fuck would you expect my friend request, you bitch? And then I woke up. So it all comes back to Scarlett accepting my friend request. But bottom line is Davey Richards, folks. Davey Richards is a guy that I thought had grown up, and he was good throughout his entire run with Impact. I got no complaints about his run with Impact, but here we go again. Davey Richards pulling the same old shit he pulled before. It's like maybe Impact was paying him enough money that he cared. I don't know, but it really did, piss me off that he did that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we heard before Impact, before they signed him, we heard that he had a lot of a lot of issues backstage in Ring of Honor and whatnot. But yeah, you must be right because he did not have any issues with Impact as far as we know. Besides, he got injured. That was the only thing really. But he had great matches. From everything we know, he had a good attitude, and I don't know. It just sucks. But hopefully that doesn't affect his Impact standing because, he's been good with Impact. So I don't know. You hate to see him do stuff like that.
Yep.
So, oh boy. So let's get on to the next news story. So we have some new agents. Obviously, we lost Sanjay Dutt. We lost Abyss. But apparently the two guys that took over the role, we had one return, a guy who's already done it before, D'Lo Brown. And we had a new guy be doing it, is Paul London. Paul London, I mean, who would have thought? Another really talented wrestler. I'm imagining we'll probably see him on TV pretty soon. But Impact Dude, what do you think about D'Lo Brown and Paul London?
Two guys I've never been a big fan of. Doesn't mean they're not good in the back. I mean, I read recently where DDP said that Disco Inferno has an amazing mind for the business and what people should be saying. Of course, he also said Disco couldn't do it himself, but he has a mind for what can and can't be done, what should be done. These two guys might be the same way. So never been a big fan of either one of those guys. Really don't need to see either one of them in the ring, to be honest with you. No desire whatsoever, but if they can do the job, somebody's going to do the job. I mean, the position's opened up, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be. Well, I mean, D'Lo Brown was an agent before. He was an agent, I want to say, like, from 2010 to 2012.
Yeah, he was there.
Even 2013.
He was even on air for a little bit. They had D'Lo Brown on air with the Aces and Eights bit, so it isn't like he hasn't done it before. I just wasn't a big fan of his.
Right, and he's wrestling on one night onlys, so I guess that kind of makes sense because he's kind of back in the swing of things a little bit. Paul London, I mean, this guy. I mean, when we go over his history, he from all accounts, his national TV debut was in TNA, and then he went to WWE after that. And then after he was released from WWE, he was actually supposed to come back to TNA, and then something happened where I don't know if he no-showed or he was late, but he was supposed to, I believe, come up with Amazing Red when Amazing Red made his return, and that just never happened. So lo and behold, we haven't really seen a lot of Paul London, and I believe he went over to Lucha Underground. He was doing stuff there. I don't know how good his Lucha Underground stuff is. I want to ask the listeners right now, whoever watches Lucha Underground, how good was Paul London's work? And if I'm not mistaken, he's probably late 30s, so I'm imagining he could probably still go. I would like to see him in the ring. I would like to see him get, a nice, solid, maybe last run for him. But I think, he's got a lot of knowledge in the business. So I think the role he's in definitely can't hurt. So that's really all I got to say about those two. As far as D'Lo Brown, though, I've always been a big fan. He's criminally underrated, and I think that one injury that happened to Draws probably killed his career. But the guy was very talented, and I thought he had a lot of charisma. But that's just me.
So Paul London's 38, by the way. He'll be 39 in April.
Okay, so I was right on the late 30s part.
You were right on the late 30s, absolutely.
Okay. Matt Sydal, let's go over him. Currently a free agent, injured, but will be returning. Question is, will he be returning in Impact or somewhere else?
I think he'll be back in Impact. I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't work some AEW too, but I think he'll be back in Impact. I think he's had a great run in Impact, and I think his run in Impact has been a lot better than some of the runs I've seen him have other places. But he's injured, and I don't know why they would resign him until he's healed and ready to go. And my guess is nobody else is signing him now until he's healed either. So I would like to see him back in Impact. I think he's a great, solid hand, and I really love the character that he's put on. Way better than the character work that I've seen him do in the past, which has always been his weak spot. So we'll see what happens. But right now, I think it's just play it by ear with Mr. Seidel.
Yeah, I think he's another guy who's a decent name, and I think Impact would definitely be making a mistake by not re-signing him. I think he's done some tremendous work, and he's a guy you can always throw in there, and he's going to give you a great match. And they were finally able to get a character out of him, and that's what I really appreciate. And he did solid work with that character. So I just think that they'd be foolish to let him go, but you never know. If WWE is interested, they could really offer him a lot of money, and hopefully he wouldn't take it. But...
Tells them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I mean, okay. If you're seeing Bobby Lashley right now, okay, if you're seeing how he's booked in WWE, that should be an indicator. Don't go back, right? Don't go back.
How are things going with EC3? I heard he got called up to the main roster.
It's been very short timing, but let me just tell you this. His first week, he beats a Dean Ambrose, a guy that's going out of, leaving the company,
right.
Whatever. That makes sense. Second week, he has a rematch against Dean Ambrose. He loses.
What?
Loses to a guy who's not going to be re-signed with the company. I think there are already reports that EC3 is dead on arrival.
Wow.
And this is happening with WWE guys. I mean, this is not a surprise. If you've been following WWE history for, forever, this happens. I mean, we've seen it before. If Vince is not a huge fan, you got a lot to prove him wrong. You got to go through a lot.
Do you think maybe Vince listens to the Heelcast?
You know what?
I mean, I would think that he should. And I'll tell you why. Because quite frankly, folks, yours truly, Impact Dude, said, let's see how EC3 responds the first time things don't go well for him in WWE. Remember, my whole problem with EC3 stems from the fact that he was awesome when they pushed him to the moon. Not so awesome, folks, when they stopped pushing him to the moon. Do you think, Hurls, that maybe Uncle Vince is taking, Cousin Impact Dude's advice to heart and saying, you know what? Let's let him job and see how he responds. See whether he still gives me 100%, or if he starts tweeting, I can't wait to go to AEW because I'm going there. I'm going to go where somebody's going to let me win. That's the bullshit that he pulled on Impact.
In interviews, he said the right thing about leaving TNA, but his Twitter kind of makes that a little hypocritical. If you were following EC3, his last 6 months in TNA,
a year plus.
Yeah, probably a year.
It was at least a year, dude.
Nah, yeah, it was, and it wasn't stuff like that. You shouldn't be doing. Like, you work for a company, don't be airing your dirty laundry out there. But he tried to be slick with it though, right? Like he wasn't just like flat out blunt, or maybe he was, but if I remember correctly, he sent a lot of memes and a lot of just kind of gray area type tweets, but you kind of knew what he was talking about. I just remember that the one when he was working under Jarrett, he was calling out all the Jarrett boys. I remember that one. So I don't think he ever liked a lot of the new people that came in at the time. So, but that also is, I mean, let's think about it. Like, he came into Impact with an undefeated streak. He had the rocket strapped to his back. He was freaking related to Dixie Carter, the owner of the company at the time. I mean, how much more did TNA need to push this guy? They gave him everything so fast. And I'm not saying he didn't have great matches, he didn't have great promos or great segments, because he definitely did. But you are exactly right. When it was time to not be the main guy, he just did not know what to do, and he got an attitude about it. So, and I'll not forget, like, look at his last match in TNA. That was embarrassing. Like, that's the best you're gonna put forth on your way out. Like, you're not gonna put any type of effort. You're just gonna mail it in. That was embarrassing. And look at a guy like Bobby Lashley, who gave it his all, even on his way out of the company. It's just there's just a total difference between the two, if you ask me.
Yeah, and that's why I'm still a Bobby Lashley fan. I'm upset that Lashley's getting buried. Because Bobby Lashley is a class freaking act. The guy did everything right the entire way through for the company at every single turn. EC3 was all about EC3. He became his character. Maybe he was his character to begin with. Maybe that's why he was so good with that pompous asshole character. Anyway, so moving on.
Yeah, and so next topic, we got to go with the unfortunate news of Lucha Underground probably not going to survive. This came out from I believe it was a tweet from one of the executive producers, Chris DeJoseph. I think somebody asked him if season 5 was ever going to happen, and he said, no, it unfortunately doesn't look like it, and I'm not betting on it. You know, basically what he said. Impact, dude, Lucha Underground, like, a lot of these guys are on Impact right now, okay? But I think Lucha Underground was something different, and they tried to bring something different to wrestling. I actually kind of liked what they brought. I mean, it was bizarre, but it was cool. I mean, I wish I could have got to watch all of it, and I'm sure I could, go on some site and watch all the seasons. But, I was kind of wishing they kept it on Netflix. But Lucha Underground, what's your thoughts on this possibly not being anything anymore?
I mean, it's disappointing, right? I mean, what the hell was that, dude? You okay, man?
She wants to be on the Heelcast. What can she say? She knows how popular the show is.
We'll have to start calling it the Howlcast then. Because that was one hell of a howler. Did you step on her tail or something, man? What the fuck did you do to the poor animal? Oh, man. So, Lucha Underground, I mean, it's one of those things where I never really got into the show because I never really had much of an outlet to watch it. But it was different, it was unique, and most importantly, folks, it gave people a chance to work, right? And it gave wrestling fans another product to enjoy. And how hypocritical of me would it be to root against them when that's what everybody's always done against, whether it be TNA or Impact? Let's just root against them just because we can root against them. It's fucking ridiculous. Don't root against them. Root for them. Root for Ring of Honor. Root for NJPW. Root for everybody that's not WWE, because we need to have that alternative. The big thing that I'd like to see, though, is I would like to see if maybe they can't find a way to create the show, maybe through some cost cutting somehow, and maybe get it on Pursuit or Fight Network alongside of Impact. Maybe is there some way that Anthem can either, partner with, buy into, or whatnot to keep the product alive. My guess is that's probably not feasible from the financial side of things, right? But if there was a way to continue to do that, that would be a great thing. But yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah. I'm not gonna comment too much. We're gonna wrap up things pretty quickly here. But Lucha Underground was. I would love to see it on the GWN. I would love that. I think that would be awesome. It would be a major get for the GWN. But
that's what Robert's saying. Robert says in the comments he bets that the Lucha Underground seasons will be on there sooner than later. That would be awesome because it used to be on Netflix before I got Netflix, and now that I have Netflix, took the fucking shit down. Impact Dude's luck.
Such is life, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, final story before we kind of just give an overall opinion of Impact going. Bruce Pritchard, obviously we all know him from his time in Impact and whatnot. Never really was the head of creative, but apparently he got a job with WWE as the head of creative. And I don't want to talk about Bruce Pritchard per se with this, but is there any writer out there for you that you would like to see Impact just to kind of bring on and maybe just add something?
Christ, Hurls, because since I know where you're going with this, fuck no. I know exactly where this is going. This is a no-win situation for me, so I will just say that I love you. I love you. Nothing but love for Brother Love. You know, I know that he got blamed for a lot of shit with when he was with Impact, and apparently he did some pretty stupid shit. I believe he was the one that let Bobby Roode's contract expire while Roode was tag team champion. And then when he finally re-signed him, Roode's visa wouldn't let him come to the U.S., so they couldn't defend the belts, and it got to be kind of messy, which was just stupid shit on his part, right? So, no Peacock. We're not mentioning that name right now. No, God, no. Fuck no. Your boy Hurls. You know, let's go talk about those 5-star matches from Josh Alexander again. Okay, let's get you two going on that shit. Okay, but you know what? I he shouldn't be in charge of talent relations, but if he has good ideas for creative, that's fantastic. And if he has bad ideas for creative and he's with WWE, that's even more fantastic. It's a no-lose situation.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up because Bruce Pritchard and Jim Cornette were part of the worst WWF era in history, 1995. Any WWE diehard will tell you that. So I just thought it's interesting that they're putting him as the head of creative again. So that's just interesting. And I guess my second part was you already mentioned Dave Lagana.
I did mention Dave Lagana. That would be great. But that's not who you're going with, but that would be phenomenal. No. I'd love to have Dave Lagana. No.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of Dave Lagana.
I love the guy. He's just a quality guy that did nothing but work his ass off.
Me and you are going to have a show about that because I still don't know what exactly he did in his whole time in Impact. But not saying he didn't do anything, but we'll have to talk about that. You know where I'm going with this. I want Vince Russo back, darn it. This guy has sold me.
So why did Bruce Pritchard get hired and Vince Russo still sitting on his ass?
Because WWE doesn't want ratings. That's my take on it.
That's your take on it.
Apparently
that's your take. They just fuck the ratings. We don't need that shit. That $1 billion contract with Fox. The hell dude, we're talking about. Could you imagine what Vince Russo could do to them once they got on Fox? Actually, Vince Russo might fit in really well on Fox. I hate to say it. I love Fox and everything, but they're a little bit edgier, a little bit more out there than some of these other networks. I know. I do not want Vince Russo back. I believe that Vince Russo presided over the absolute worst clusterfuck in wrestling history known as WCW. I don't care what you say. I got two bits for you on Vince Russo, okay? He made, okay, Hulk Hogan job to Billy Kidman. Remember that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
He would not let Hulk Hogan be the world champion. Fucked him out of that. But he did make David Arquette the world champion. Okay?
Yeah.
You don't recover from that shit. You don't recover from that shit, okay? Whoever put that knucklehead in charge of anything is a complete idiot, and it wasn't Vince McMahon, because Vince Russo was never in charge of shit. Vince McMahon was always in charge of the shit, and that's the Vince McMahon filter is the only thing that ever made Vince Russo successful. Okay.
Okay.
Unless you want to see the knockouts having mud wrestling matches every goddamn time. Peacock, shut the hell up, okay? I love you, buddy. And I love Billy Kidman too. I don't want to diss Billy Kidman. Billy Kidman was my favorite cruiserweight of all time. Okay, I love Billy Kidman, but Billy Kidman versus Hulk Hogan was the biggest fucking piece of bullshit I ever watched either. You like watching the greatest of all time go against some greenhorn, man. It's like, what the fuck? Okay.
Okay. Can I have just a quick rebuttal? Okay.
Here's a rebuttal to Hogan and Kidman?
Well, you have to understand. You have to put context in this.
Okay, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
Donovan Dijak comes in 5, 4, 3. All right, go for it, man. The floor is yours.
Okay. WCW around that time, they had just lost Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the list goes on and on. Jericho, they lost all their young guys.
Yep.
So what's Russo trying to do? He's trying to push these guys so we're not going to lose even more. So, yeah, okay, looking at it in 2019, Billy Kidman, Hogan, yeah, that's not anywhere where it should be. But you have to understand his heart was in the right place. And if you know WCW contracts like I know you know that Hogan could just say, nope, not doing it, whatever. Hard to work with. I think some of that was out of frustration. His hands were tied the entire time with the politics that were going on with WCW at that time. But let's go with TNA though. Let's go on his TNA run.
Let's talk a little bit more about this Hogan Kidman thing, okay?
Sure.
Because you are right. People do not give Hogan enough credit. Hogan could have told Kidman to go fuck himself. I'm not going to do the job. And people keep saying that Hogan won't job anybody, but I've seen Hogan job everybody he's ever freaking wrestled. Okay. So there was that. At the same point in time, I do agree with you about them needing to build new stars. The problem is that those guys that you mentioned that left, and I loved most of those guys. I was never a Benoit fan. Okay. What he did was absolutely horrific, but I didn't like him when he was in WCW. He looked like a goddamn robot. Okay. So I was never a Benoit fan. But the other guys, I loved. And I didn't like Jericho until he went heel and did the whole Goldberg whining shit. Then I loved the guy. He became my favorite wrestler. But the thing is that, you know, Billy Kidman, if he would have left, and I love Billy Kidman, wouldn't have been a loss because they hadn't promoted him yet. So what they really needed to do was let those guys leave and then take the next run of guys and actually promote them properly, which they never did, because guys like Jericho should have been promoted up the card, and guys like, unfortunately, I never really liked Benoit, but everybody else did, so I mean, he should have been up the card, right? And guys like Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero should have been promoted up the card, but take the next round of guys and build them and fix your mistake that way. Making Hogan go to and job the Kidman was not the way to do it, and it failed fucking miserably. Okay, but I do understand your heart thing. So let's talk about his TNA run.
Sure. I mean, okay. The fact lies that when he was in charge of creative, they had their best run with ratings. That's just a fact, right? 2006, 2009.
Oh, you said. Actually, they did their best. They did their best numbers actually when Hogan and Bischoff came in. Those are their highest rated shows.
2011, but Russo's still on the booking team though. He's still on the booking team at this point. Okay, so Hogan and Bischoff left. I want to say at the beginning of 2013, but Russo left at the end of 2011. 2011, I went over this actually with Peacock, Mike Peacock there. And it was 2011. I thought it was 2009, but it was actually 2011. But Russo, nonetheless, he's still on the booking team, correct? So we're still in agreement there.
I don't know that he was when they actually got the latest one. So I was told that Pritchard had actually booked those shows. But continue.
Sure. But yeah, Pritchard was there as well because they brought him on and whatnot. Russo talks about that, but I'm just saying you need ratings right now, and in my opinion, and there's a lot of facts to go on this, is Russo shows have generally drew higher numbers. So I'm saying for Impact, who obviously being on Pursuit is a struggle in itself, why not give a guy, you don't have to give this guy full control. Just give him something like character. You know, he can develop gimmicks for maybe some new wrestlers that are trying to, you know, get themselves kind of over and get themselves known. I think he does a really solid job at that. I also think he writes a TV show. He doesn't write a wrestling show, and I think that's where it kind of throws a lot of wrestling fans off because, yeah, you're watching a wrestling show, but he's not just going to give you the match after match after match after match formula that generally only appeals to your hardcore wrestling fans to begin with. Why not try to get those casual viewers? I'm not saying get rid of all the long matches, but maybe give us a little more Undead Realm stuff. I mean, we got that at Bound for Glory, and then we haven't really got it since.
So let's be fair, though. I mean, you've also just described the work that Lagana did. You described the work that Pritchard did. You described the work that the Billy Corgan did. You described a lot of writers. I mean, pretty much every writer. They haven't really had much writing recently. I mean, creative has just been kind of like, here, you guys are in a feud. Go have at it. I mean, to be fair, that's the biggest difference. So I don't know that I buy into the fact that Russo gives that stuff. I also feel like back in 2006, 2007, 2008, really up to maybe even 2012, wrestling was doing better as a whole, so those ratings were going to be higher. Wrestling fell off, and what you see a lot when things fall off is you see the biggest survive a lot better. So WWE might shrink its market by half, but the next guy, his might shrink by like 80 or 90%. WWE actually gets hurt the most because they lose the most money, but the other guy, they're out the freaking business, right? And they had a lot of money behind them at that point too. So they had the Main Event Mafia. They had a lot of legends from the business running the circles at that time. Now they've got nobody, right? They got nobody of note that anybody freaking knows. Johnny Impact, maybe, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't have any names. And so I don't feel, and this isn't me knocking Vince Russo, okay? So Peacock, before you go crazy on me, buddy, I'm knocking the business. It's hard to create a name without having a name to create the name from, right? And that's why guys like Hogan coming in were so freaking valuable, because if Hogan said that, you know, Matt Morgan was good, people would actually buy it. I mean, you know, he wasn't any good, but Hogan tried, right?
Right.
But it's a big deal to have some of those guys come in. When you bring in a Ric Flair, have them on your show, they're going to draw eyes, they're going to draw attention, and especially if they're doing jobs. Now, at 70 years old, those two guys' job ain't helping nobody. But them just being on the show and drawing the eyes, so you can see people like AJ Styles, helps in AJ Styles' career. They probably should have helped AJ Styles' career a little bit more, but AJ Styles didn't have the character work. It really still doesn't, to keep up with some of those legends in the ring anyway, to be honest with you. It's a different world now. So you do need to kind of recognize that Russo's not going to ever see those numbers again, and somebody else booking might have seen the same numbers. And that's irregardless of who booked the best shows, whether it was Pritchard or Russo. You know, we said before, don't worry about it. We're not getting back to that unless they can fix the whole business and unless they can get some names. That's why AEW is doing the things that it's doing to try to bring some of those names in so they can build some of this other talent base. And that's what you really need.
Oh, well, right, sure. And then why do you think, you know, Impact brought in a Scott Steiner for their first episode of Pursuit? I mean, there's not a ton of draws, you know, and especially, you know, ones that are going to, you know, try to pop a little bit of a rating. And I think Scott Steiner can do that. But, you know, there's just not a ton of guys out there right now that can do that. But that's kind of the thinking that Impact was thinking when they brought in Scott Steiner. So,
yeah, they need to fix their television situation. And I don't think that them bringing a guy like Vince Russo, who's going to try to be very over the top and very, very, very edgy with Crash TV, is necessarily the way to do it right now. I think they need to build a solid, consistent product. And then if they wanted to, you know, Peacock saying let him be a consultant, consult with him at some point, that would be different. But right now, actually, Peacock, your last comment hits the nail on the head. They need a TV show format, and they're not doing it right now. They need to be a TV show first, and they can be a TV show in a lot of different ways. I always liked what Lagana did because I thought that he was middle of the road. He wasn't too crazy, but he would still do stuff and keep a full TV show going. And more importantly, you know, they keep borrowing or stealing everything from Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is consistent, okay? They don't have a TV show format, and that's a problem for Ring of Honor, but they're consistent. And Impact needs to figure out, you know, what their identity is and stick with that. To me, I'm with you, Hurls. I'm with you, Peacock. They need a TV show format, and that is the bottom line. Where they should be. That's the kind of fan that I am, though, right? But more importantly, they need to be consistent with their show, so the fans know what to expect. Just like they need to be consistent with the pay-per-view pricing. Or not pay-per-view pricing, so the fans know what to expect. It's about building brand and building loyalty through consistency, and consistency is the best thing that you can do to build brand and loyalty. And quite frankly, Russo wouldn't bring any consistency there because he would be so much different than what they've got. And they also, by the way, need to not drastically change the TV show format in one time. They need to do it gradually over a few tapings, right? So that the fans kind of go with the flow into it. And I feel like they have been doing that, and they have been trying to move in that direction piece by piece. And I do think that's one thing that that Ed Nordholm has brought to this company is the fact that he doesn't just crash and switch directions. He does shift directions and try to bring the fans with him.
Right. Well, I also wanted to bring up too that Disco Inferno is more along the lines of a Vince Russo. So who knows? I mean, I heard he kind of comes back again. So I don't know if he has any influence over that, but maybe even a guy like hiring Disco on the creative team could be something different. But like you said, we do get Tommy Dreamer and Conan in creative. I believe that's what was being reported. So it's possible that we could see a different type of change going in 2019.
And I don't know about Dreamer so much, okay? But I'll tell you, I do like the concept of having Conan in creative. Although I would worry about him being head of creative because he is booking AAA and he is booking MLW. And by all stretches, people seem to be liking what they're seeing there. And I think for him to be able to give Impact, and actually all three companies, a bit of a consistency to them so that the alternatives are a little bit more consistent is a good thing. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Him and Dreamer could be crazier than Russo. Okay? I mean, let's call a spade a spade.
Right.
I just because they're not Russo doesn't mean it's not Russo that's the problem. It's the Crash TV and the craziness that's the problem. That could come from these other guys too. It's not just I don't like Vince Russo because he fucking killed WCW. Okay, I don't like Vince Russo because he fucking killed WCW, but it's why he killed WCW, right? That we're trying to avoid.
Well, yeah, I think too much change too soon is kind of a shock to the viewers.
Exactly.
And yeah, I agree with you in leading them slowly into the direction you want to go in. I agree. You don't want to kind of just all of a sudden. You don't want to go from like ice cold water to hot, blazing, boiling hot water right away. Obviously, it doesn't feel good.
You don't, and that's what Vince Russo did with like Hogan and Kidman. Kidman needed to be built up. Yeah. To get to a point where he could wrestle Hogan, which, by the way, never happened in Kidman's career. But that is not Vince Russo's fault, okay? Right. That particular moment, Billy Kidman should have been wrestling somebody a little bit lower on the card and getting some momentum as opposed to coming out and shooting on Hogan and, good God above.
I totally understand your point. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and maybe we'll just do a separate show sometime, kind of just going over this because I have a lot to say about that. But unfortunately, here we don't have the time to do it. So the last segment I want to talk about just Uncaged. Give me your kind of like your overall. I know it's a week old, but kind of give me what you thought of Uncaged, and then kind of your overall direction of Impact and kind of what you see going forward.
Yeah, I thought Uncaged though was a pretty good TV special. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that Uncaged is something they could have done as a Twitch special to try to drag people over to the Twitch channel a little bit, right? And then kind of promote it as, hey, we've got this sort of like pay-per-view mega card on Twitch, and then have them watch it specifically on Twitch, okay? For the blow-offs. I thought it was a good card. I thought that the matches delivered. I thought that they were all very solid matches. I thought that this was pretty well done. I think the overall direction of Impact Wrestling, I think that they're trending a little bit better right now than they have been. Very concerned about the whole business with, Pop TV deciding to drop them because, they weren't high enough quality content because they were wrestling is concerning, and the fact that they wound up on Pursuit is concerning. So I think that the company as a whole maybe doesn't trend well, but I think the product is trending in a better direction than it was a few months ago. But they haven't recreated the buzz that they had at Slammiversary Hurls, and I think it's going to be hard to. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be really hard to regenerate that buzz.
Right. I thought Uncaged was good. Liked a lot of some of the AAA wrestlers. Vikingo was pretty cool. I'd like to see more of him. I didn't mind Puma King. The Psycho Clown, was what it was. Porous. you know, a lot of these, you know, AAA slash luchadors, they all have some crazy gimmicks and whatnot. So sometimes it's just like a culture clash when you're just going with American wrestlers. But overall, I thought Uncaged was a pretty solid card. The main event was really good. I love the Survivor Series style format that they did with the World Cup. Thought that was pretty cool. But with 2019, obviously, I'm really excited. It's funny because, you know, we trash United We Stand for the way that Impact handled the business aspect, but the card itself looks pretty darn good. RVD and Sabu, I've always been huge fans, so I'm definitely excited for that. And I'm excited to see who they're going to go with world champion, you know, who's going to be the next contender. I'm excited for that. And obviously, Josh Alexander, like, can't wait to see how they use this guy. Like, and, you know, I got a lot of I'm hyping this guy up, so this could definitely blow up in my face if he kind of just dodges, but I don't think he will. But I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to be excited about too. As much as Impact makes us angry about certain things, they also make us excited to keep watching and hopefully buy pay-per-views, right?
Yeah.
Right, Impact?
Except for Eli Drake, who they burying for no good freaking reason. I think we should do a show on that all unto itself.
We totally forgot to mention that too. How he does not want to wrestle Tessa Blanchard, and I just want to say, how did they not talk to this guy beforehand about this match? That wasn't a good look as well. So
you want to talk about the next contender? The next contender is and should be Eli Drake.
Oh, by far.
Put the freaking belt back on him when you're ready to take it off of freaking Johnny. Give it to Eli Drake. End the story. Enough said.
I don't know what they're waiting for with that. Oh, we didn't mention Joe Henry leaving too. That's a bummer. The guy had a lot of charisma, but I think he had visa issues because you never really saw him wrestle in the States much. So, but anyways, it's also concerning about Pop TV as well. They basically just booted Impact off because they didn't want wrestling on anymore, even though it was still one of their top-rated shows. Brad Schwartz, the CEO, said it himself. But anyways, okay, we got to get going.
Yeah, it's late.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, this special news-filled episode of the Heelcast. We had a great discussion. I enjoy everybody's opinion. I love it when it's different than mine. And I'm sure you do too, Impact Dude. So
I do.
For the rest of the Heelcast crew, we're out. We'll see you next week.